Universe. Hey, good morning. It is 10:03 on the 23rd of March. And hopefully Michael Jordan has stopped gambling. But if not Michael, well, hopefully you still got some money. But I'm certainly not here to talk about Michael Jordan's gambling habits. And I was having, I meant to get on yesterday. I crashed last night at some point and got a great night's sleep because I'm thoroughly rested. Sucks to be you, universe, because I don't start my job at the Home Depot for a week. That got, actually, almost exactly 24 hours I've known that information. So I've been holding out on you, universe. Well, I mean, universe knew that information eternity ago, so I should not feel like that's an update for them. That's an update for you. Everybody else who doesn't know everything and will never know everything. Because unlike the universe, being a human being comes with limitations. And one of them is not knowing what the next minute brings, or tomorrow, or any other point in the future. I mean, unless you got that government yellow box or whatever that military thing is that one dude looked into and told the world about all the alien shenanigans going on around us. I mean, pretty easy to laugh stuff like that off, right? Because 99.99% of the people around you laugh that stuff off with you. And when I think about what kind of work we do as we work our way through all this silliness, well, Phoebe's snoring away over there, so she's working on a good morning sleep. But working for the truth is some of the hardest work we do. I mean, it's hard personally because if you don't have the right level of forgiveness for yourself, the ability to shed shame that society wants to thrust upon you, and the confidence to stand up and say, wait a second, I can't be illegal, immoral, unconscionable to act this way because that's the way I was built. I came here in a body that was fully composed to produce this for the universe. And the only reason I'm not doing it is because you other humans won't let me. Don't think it's right. And so we develop these parallel societies. These societies where the humans gather behind closed doors because, I mean, they can't stop doing what they're here to do. So if you're going to judge them and tell them that isn't allowable, well, then our J. Edgar Hoovers take their private escapades behind closed doors. What was his boyfriend's name? Claude or something? Clive? I don't know. I mean, when the head of the FBI is a raging homosexual, closeted up, the worst of all, to the point that he's collecting blackmail on everybody else so that he can hide the shame of the lifestyle that he feels is such a disaster to live that he has to protect himself by having disasters ready to throw at everybody else. So, how does that guy get to be head of the FBI? He has to become head of the FBI. That's how twisted up his life is. It's the only place that he can collect enough counter evidence about the... All right. If Phoebe's going to snore that loud, I guess I got to find the microphone. Hang on. Wait, let me finish my J. Edgar Hoover thought. This is my worst trait is in these recordings is to have something interrupt a thought and then never get back to it. So, finishing this thought. When a guy like J. Edgar Hoover exists, he exists because he is so unsure of what he is here to do, because everything he feels he is born to do in his attraction to other men, he is told makes him the devil. So, to prove he's not the devil, he goes out and finds devilish dirt on everybody he can possibly get dirt on. And does this make him feel better? No. The only thing this does is it gives him the ultimate protection about ever being truly discovered. And the funny thing is, obviously, everyone who has 2 cents in their head can tell from your behavior what you're up to. Most of us just don't give a shit because we understand it's your life. And the ones who do, well, those are the other J. Edgar Hoovers out there. Somebody told them they were broken some way. They came to believe it. And now they know that that part of them must be evil, immoral, whatever. Because it won't go away, but they know it's wrong, so that makes them feel like they have to keep that part protected so that all us silly humans don't come along and stone you to death. And those of us who are the worst in our heads about the part we feel is the most broken, well, we will literally find the dirt on everybody to the point we will set people up to make them dirty, because nobody can be as pristine and clean as that person if I'm as dirty and filthy as this inside. And it's all self-imposed. It's all shit we do to ourselves. We make ourselves feel so wrong that we believe our existence is a sign of the end of times. And it's not uncommon. There are a lot of J. Edgar Hoovers running around the universe. I was one of them. You can't underestimate the potential for a human being, the impressionable little daisies that they are, to be told how to think. And it's so much work to unthink what you've been told how to think. And if you keep thinking it to the point you believe it, and if you believe it so much, you start to think that the conflict inside of you that feels the abrasive aggravation of society, internalizes that, starts letting that be the voice in their head that they hear, that it is their fault, that they're the problem, that they are immoral, built wrong, came here broken. Well, now you've just turned loose a time bomb. Fortunately, most of which do not go off. Most of which sink into some wallowing cocoon of misunderstanding. They don't understand themselves. They don't understand the world. They don't understand anything that's going on. Well, if that's how it feels, it's because you know you're being lied to. You just haven't figured out how all the lies are wound up. And that's what's got you so unsure. You know when humans are not unsure? When they have the truth. If you have the truth, you're going to move forward with whatever the next step needs to be. It's simple. I mean, it's It is ridiculously simple, which is why the lies are so thick. They're this thick because we're really good at getting to the truth. But if all we do in our pursuit of truth is run into more shenanigans and disappointment, eventually we all well up in that cocoon of misunderstanding. And the liars are experts. They're experts. They have convinced you. They're so good that think about how many of us they've convinced us that we're the problem. I mean, that is phenomenal. But that's how impressionable we are. We will believe in what authorities tell us to the point you can convince us we should never have been born. Because we don't want a world that's in pain. We don't want a world that's filled with suffering. We don't want a world where people are misunderstood, where people have to close doors and cry tears of living a life they know isn't them. So if you're a human, sometimes the easiest thing to think, I'm going to pause. Okay. I only paused for 5 seconds because this is a sensitive subject and I don't want to lose it. But there's nobody who should be able to think about the number of suicides in this country. Do you know how many ex-military, come back here so scarred from the experience that they can't go forward with life and decide to end it? And I do not want to... Listen. If you are so twisted up in this society that you think you don't belong here, you're wrong. I know what that feels like. It's not a good feeling. But you're wrong. You've been trained to think this way. Nothing you've done because that's who you are. Trust me, you're not here to destroy yourself. But that's how good society can be, at twisting you in a knot. You do not deserve that knot. It's 100% not your fault. Everything that you can do to fall into pits that make you feel like you're a moral failure and a complete abomination of the human condition is because those abomination levers were here to be pulled. In different rooms, you act completely differently, and your impression of yourself is a completely different thing. You have to understand that you still have paths up what feels like the worst possible situation to be in. No matter what it is, what you've done till now is endure it. You can always improve it. And if you've earned the kind of pain of life that has you thinking of ending it. Well, I definitely understand you. And it doesn't have to be that way. I weep so hard for the people that feel that kind of pain because it's so unnecessary. It's what we create. I don't know why. Nobody's been able to tell me that. And I don't mean to be so emotional, but I feel the pain of all of it. It hurts. It's okay, Phoebe. Sometimes when I can't get to work, it's because I wake up and I've had these dreams about how much lost potential is out there that we destroyed. And I don't have an answer as to why. I don't know why. I don't know what motivates people to hurt other people. I don't know. I hope it's nothing. That people decide is so wrong, they have to end their life. Trust me, whatever you're feeling that makes you think you're the problem, you've been trained to think. Just like whatever you think that makes you look at somebody and think you're better than them, well, you've been trained to think that too. And when you start to believe it, well, that's when you should recognize how good the liars are. They can literally take a human being, put them in a circumstance, to not just think, but come to believe that there's such a problem, they have to take themselves out of this position. It happens, the last time I looked, it was 20-something thousand times a year. Or 40,000. Maybe it's 20,000 by handgun and 40,000 overall. Whatever it is, it's a town full of people every year opting out because they think they're the problem. And I so wanted to join that group. I just didn't have enough access to easy weaponry to get it done. And if you'd have told me ever that I would be not just sure, but convinced that I wasn't ready to die, that I needed to live, I told you to get the hell out of my room and go get me a fucking mental crutch to deal with reality, because you're full of lies. All I want to do is die. It can't come quick enough. This world sucks ass, and I don't want to be here anymore. Do I have the stones to take myself out? No. So what's that about? I'm a coward. I'm a piece of shit. I got all kinds of proof. You want to see it? Come look. Well, yeah. You could throw a pity party to the full extreme. Literally rent the ball castle for yourself and find yourself in there all by yourself, wondering if reincarnation is true, how you can come back as anything but a human being. Well, the first thing that guy should do is go blow his nose. The second thing that guy should do is finish my list. Because for whatever reason, a number I am attached to and have been my whole life. As a matter of fact, this is one thing, if you'd asked me from the age of 7 on, has never changed. Well, my favorite number is 122. I have no explanation for that either. But I do have an explanation for what you do when your nose is full of, I just cried too much, I've got to go blow my nose. Yeah, it's called Kleenex. Or, well, that's the brand. See? I've been trained to think this way. All right, it's 10:25, according to my Android phone. And I have no idea if this recording is working without my headset. The new recording consistency has been fairly high. So the idea that I'm not using what has worked, believe me, this will be a one and only time that I don't do that. If this turns out to be unlistenable, I guess that'll be the universe's way of saying, stop talking about shit that makes you break down. Yeah, I get that. But I almost stopped myself from having any kind of conversation with those who might be on the precipice of deciding life is too hard. Except, man, that's something I have some experience with. And woman. And, God forbid, teenager. But I think at some point in life, every one of us decides the equation of would we be better, all be better off if I wasn't here versus my experience of what I'm doing here currently. Am I now a net negative? I think we've all come to that conclusion at some point. I don't care who you are. It is so built into our DNA, literally built in, to have doubt, to be unsure. It is the confidence experienced with group consensus that moves us forward confidently. And that ingrained desire to group up is what we all feel as loyalty. But if we don't have that ingrained desire to group up, because we're unsure as individuals if we've got our shit together until we get another 10 or 12 or 10,000 or 10 million of us to say, hey, yeah, that's what I think too. Well, now we've got the confidence of an entire human consciousness. And that is the point. That is where greatness sits. That's why the more we individualize ourselves, the more doubt we have. Because we know we're doing it wrong. It's not how it works. The individual can't really be confident of anything. Because the only thing they have is themselves to go by. But the group, well, we've seen what the group can do. The group can get a little nutty. The group can make you do things that you'd never do by yourself. The group. So then even if you go into the group, well, maybe you choose the wrong freaking group. What happened over here? I thought we had our shit together, but apparently no. We're over here doing what? What's this? Chrome? Adrenochrome? Is that a new browser? No. So when you start to find out that the one place that they say there is no doubt, this thing called the scientific method has been doing pretty well. It's giving us a lot of facts that the more they stack up, the more we figure out, the more we figure out, the more we can challenge, the more we can challenge, the more we can stack stuff up. In fact, we can stack stuff up so much that when we find something that makes one of those fundamental blocks down there at the bottom threaten our stack, well, we kick it off the table. But hold on, I thought the whole group mentality thing was that we're strong enough to weather whatever hiccups come along that make us as individuals go, uh-oh, I doubt I even know anything. if that's not true. But wait, the group's telling me that I know this, so it's true, so I'm good. I'm good. A couple of those are fine. They're very easy to write off, in fact. As a matter of fact, not writing them off would be showing a lack of faith in your own beliefs. But once enough of them stack up that you have to find some rubber band excuses to justify the counter evidence, well, shit. Now you're filled with all kinds of doubt again, right? So you just swallow it. Apparently, either the people around you don't have this doubt, and thus maybe you're crazy, because if you're the only one feeling this stuff, well, I don't know that that's the kind of thing that you need to be going sharing with the universe. It makes me wonder where are all the stories of our ancient menacing serial killers? Why are the true snaps of individuals, the ones who just have to show society that it's gotten so twisted up that individuals like me, Jeffrey Dahmer, can exist? That is not the natural state of mankind. Humankind, Homo sapiens. It's not. Or else there'd be a history littered with them. Do you know why? Because you've been trained to think, so you can't tell me this is bullshit, because you all think it. Our ancient peoples were the more animalistic of us. They were the ones who were living in slavery. They were the ones who were literally experiencing life at a visceral level of immersed in nature, fighting for everything, survival of the fittest. There were the most reptilian-brained versions of life are all back there in the past. So, if it's a natural state of being to become something like Jeffrey Dahmer, there should be tons of them back there. We should be evolving past that. But we're not. In fact, it seems like we're getting to the point where we're creating more and more of them. I gotta stop sitting on my shatter. And the best thing about all this is if you start looking for the evidence of what makes you feel so doubtful, you actually start to see, wait a second. Why are there no dinosaur bones back there in them Egyptian tombs? What kind of lying is going on? Maybe I'm not so convinced I'm the problem because the depth of that intuition feels like it goes into my blood. Maybe I'm in a society where I'm immersed in such nonsense that even my blood can feel it. I don't know, maybe. When you have those thoughts, that is when you've officially convinced yourself. Padded room. One padded room for one over here. The jacket? No, I didn't bring my own, but I'd like to rent one. I know, you have to wear the jacket. I'm fine with that. Put me in one. Right? But why does it make so much sense? Why does it start giving your life some cohesion? Sweet. I'm a conspiracy theorist now, right? This is awesome. I mean, I still don't know why we would bring a dune buggy and golf clubs to a lunar orbiting entity with no atmosphere where any abrasion that rips my suit costs me my life. Let me go hit some rocks around with all these other dudes watching me like it's the first tee at Augusta. Okay, maybe we did that. Maybe that's how fucking dumb we are. Maybe. Okay, maybe we did. I mean, if I were at least the caretaker of the most important achievement, and it's hard to argue we've done something more important than rocket ourselves to the moon and then rocket ourselves home to land in an ocean of media waving celebration. If we've done better than that, well, I know we keep digging up all these ancient writings on stone tablets carved or cast by the people of animalistic natural past. Natural? Doesn't matter. But proof of the moon landing, the telemetry tapes, the blueprints for the actual lunar lander, any of it? Is there any of it? Can I fact check any of it? No, we lost it all. Well, we taped over some of it. Some of it went home with a dude named Max. I think he'd let his dog pee on it. I mean, you know how people are. We fucking lost shit, dude. All of it. Quit asking questions. Okay, I will. Thanks for helping assuage my doubt. Seriously, thank you. I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you for telling me this is how it all works out. You want to feel good about life? Do these things. Okay, I'll do them. How about those of you that they told you want to feel good about life? Go kill that guy. He's our enemy. We need your power to thwart thy enemy. So you thwarted enemies. And now you live with the misery of having thwarted what you know now weren't your enemies. How do we get people to kill people? Well, number one, convince them that the enemy is inhuman. Because we can't kill each other. That we're not built to do that. Wait a second, there's all kinds of evidence that we're built to do that. No. There's a shit ton of evidence that when you want to get people to kill each other, you have to convince them that they're doing something that has to be done because what they're facing is an insurmountable evil that can't exist. It has to be put down. Which is why you see those messages reinforced everywhere. Because they have to convince us of it. Because we know it's not true. It is simply not true. The best thing about that statement, and it's the first thing that across the board anybody listening to this said inside, yeah, that's true. I don't want to kill anybody. We don't. And yet we live in a constant threat that seems available. The Russians are going to do it to me. They are? What'd I do to the Russians? What did anybody do to the Russians? Are they pissed about World War II? If they're pissed because we keep saying we're the ones that want it, I can see where they might want to come over and put a fucking punch in the mouth to us, but kill us? Oh, what'd we do? We didn't do anything. Neither did they. But without an enemy, how do you get us riled up? You don't. Because without an enemy, what do? Well, we have bake sales and play hopscotch and shit like that. Invent firecrackers so that we can celebrate our birthdays. Point is, if they don't continue to convince us with every message there is that we live in a state of chaos, in that state of chaos, evil festers. And when evil festers, it must be put down. And that job is not just a job, it's a duty. And those who do it with the obligation of fulfilling a better life for everybody, well, you're trained to think all of that. My cat doesn't think that. My dog doesn't think that. Do they chase down an occasional meal because they're carnivores? Yeah. But what does that not prove? Chaos. In fact, if you want proof that balance, symmetry, and tranquility are what we're all here to achieve and experience, well, look at nature. My cat doesn't recklessly kill. She kills because she needs to eat. Nature provides the avenue in which she can do that. Just like nature provides an avenue in which we can all exist in a loving, embracing state. Or we can think it's chaos out there. Everyone's out to get me. And ultimately, the only person I can depend on is me. Well, you see the world that produces. So when I think about the work that's here to be done, I think that's the world that's got to unwind. No more thinking I'm the problem. Whoever you are, it is never right to take your own life. All the shame and guilt you feel is humans imposing that upon you. Have you done dastardly things? Probably. So what? Live a better life, and we all get the benefit. And the daily diary is to remind myself to document the change that came from living a life completely unmoored, so uncertain and unsure that I could never share my real self with anybody. So here I sit, sharing my real self with the world. As much as I don't want to put this online with all that blubbering, it's real talk to people who might be in real pain. I understand you. I promise you it can get better. And I forgive anything you think you did that's so dastardly you have to take yourself out of here. We'll figure it out. Start being better with the things you can fix right now, and work on the stuff that can get you to the place where you can feel you can let go of the stuff that hurts the most. I wouldn't share my most painful stories if I didn't think it had a purpose. Because ultimately, whatever you think you've done that's the worst doesn't define you. It simply traps you. And I'm challenging you to think through that to the point that you decide, yes, you can be better. You are not the person you became. You are the person you are. Once you figure that out, a lot of things start to make sense. Of course, with me, a lot of things don't. But such is human life, right?